What's going on YouTube? JT1 here, and welcome back to another edition of my DC comic book reviews. And in today's video, we're going to be talking about Nightwing issue number 82. This was written by Tom Taylor, art by Bruno Redondo, and we're going to be talking about this thing. So this one picks up right after the events of the previous issue, that big shocking cliffhanger ending where Melinda Zucco unmasked Nightwing, revealing him to be Dick Grayson. And of course, Dick Grayson has a hatred for Tony Zucco because Tony Zucco killed his parents. And so, of course, he's going to have some animosity towards Melinda Zucco, who at the very end is just like, I'm your sister. Wait, what? And then that just kind of left me and a lot of readers kind of questioning, what the hell is happening here? So yes, it is revealed in this thing that Melinda Zucco's mother had a thing with Dick's father before Dick Grayson was born. So Tom Taylor is very careful when he writes that. He's just like, no, this was a brief fling before, his parents were together. So it doesn't make him a POS. They just kind of had a relationship. She was kind of taken away, and that was that. So yes, we're doing the whole long lost sibling thing, which is something I just saw in like Fast and Furious 9. I mean, in that movie, it's like Vin Diesel's this guy who's all about family. Of course, the big family memes kind of took off recently, and never once mentions his brother, which leads me to believe it was obviously never intended to be that way. It was just something they just kind of added in just to continue the story. This, I don't know exactly the story purposes, like, why did she have to be his sister? Like, what's the reasoning behind this? Is this just for shock value? Is there like something really kind of there by making Melinda Zucco the long lost sister of Dick Grayson that we never knew about? If that's also the case, why didn't his parents ever mention having a thing? I guess maybe because at that point they were kind of this happy family, but like, I don't know. It just leaves me asking a few questions. And also, based on what we see in here, because keep in mind, Tony Zucco had met, Dick's, future parents, like, at some point before, Dick Grayson was born. Like, now he's exacting revenge, like, how many years later, now that Dick's an adult? Like, why would the circus even be dealing with Zucco at that point, concerning the stuff that Zucco did to him years prior? I don't know. It's just, like, when I'm starting to think about it, it's not making too much sense to me. But, like, I don't know. It's just kind of something like, okay, we want to add some shock value or that. But I don't know. I don't know what Tom Taylor's up to by making Melinda Zucco the sister of Dick Grayson. So that's pretty much what this whole issue is about, is Dick was captured, and then she goes and has a conversation with him, and they meet Melinda's mother. And we find out her tragic backstory of how she came to know John Grayson, how she ended up with Tony Zucco at some points. And it is kind of a sad thing, but like, you do find out that Dick's father and, his mother had treated her well when she was in the circus and such. So let's go ahead and summarize what happens in here. So yes, I like how at the beginning of this thing, Nightwing tells Oracle to stand down. He's going to take care of this thing after he was attacked. And she also tells everyone else to stand down. And then we come to find out that pretty much all the Titans and Batman were there in an instant, ready to save Dick Grayson. I thought that was a nice little heartwarming scene. Goes to show just how good of a hero Dick Grayson is and the impact he's had on everyone else. Like, if Dick Grayson goes down and everybody's going to drop exactly what they're doing, you're like, in an instant, no, we're going to go help Dick. So I love that bit. It goes to show like his impact he's had on everybody else. I think the artwork in this thing is really nice, especially there, like the colors and just the way everything's kind of done. Like, you also get kind of the cute fluffy moments. Like, I love his little puppy, his little three-legged dog. I think she's adorable. Every time she kind of pops up in something, I'm like, adding a little dog and giving that to Nightwing, I don't know, that's just something like, it kind of wins me over. So anyways, then they go and then they meet her mother, which is Miley Lynn, and we come to find out that she was basically bought and paid for and came for the country. So she was a part of the sex slave trade, and then she was sold to Tony Zucco, who was just this real abusive prick piece of shit person. At one point, they go to the circus together. She kind of breaks free, goes off and hides. With the Flying Graysons kind of help and hide her. Zucco starts questioning things, puts a gun out on them. They like to utilize their Dick's parents utilize their gym kata on him and beat the crap out of him. An all new powerful martial arts. So for those of you who don't know, go watch Jim Kata and tell me what you think of that, because it's an absolutely ridiculous movie. But yeah, so they're masters of Jim Kata. They're doing their thing. Zucco kind of goes off and they protect Melinda's mother, and I think it's Miley there. So she's there. So they give her a nice place to stay because that's where the circuses are. They're kind of outcasts, and they treat her really well, and they're very friendly. And she talks about how great like Dick's parents were, and how like these were kind of the happiest times of her life. She also mentions that she very briefly kind of had this relationship, and again, the way Taylor writes it, it's just very like, no. Dick's dad did not cheat on, his mom. This was just something they kind of had very, very briefly, that they both agreed to for a short period of time. And then Zucco eventually caught up to her, found out about her, and kind of dragged her off. And keep in mind, like, he also attacks Dick's father and breaks his hand. So it also has me wondering, like, why aren't they out kind of looking for this girl? Like, why is it never really brought up again? What's going on here? Like, did they just kind of give up? Like, why would they even come close or anything associating with Zucco after this? Unless Zucco snuck in and got revenge somewhere else. I don't know. It just leaves me asking a bit too many questions. I'm not exactly sure how the continuity of this is all kind of lining up. But this is just something we're just going to have to roll with, I guess, at this point. But then she comes to say that, like, her daughter was born. Zucco never admitted to her being the daughter of, John Grayson, because he didn't want to look bad in front of everyone else. He always kind of, like, showcased that was his daughter and such. And eventually they kind of broke free from him. They come to find that Dick Grayson was there, and she wasn't obviously going to try and like break apart this really kind of happy family here, and so she kind of left him be. So it's kind of a sad end to her story. She never went back to John or anything like that, so the Graysons were just kind of there. And then tragedy strikes, obviously, and you can see Dick kind of getting emotional about the whole thing. He's like, I'm really so sorry what Zucco did to both of us. Like, he's really upset about it too, because he's like, wow, Zucco really tore this woman's life apart, and now he's doing it kind of again. Like, he also mentions how it was nice to meet her, and he's like also sorry about like what her daughter's like, because her daughter is a criminal and doing all these kind of terrible things, I guess, and this kind of upsets him. But again, the shock of finding out that he has a long lost sister, I think it's going to take some time for him to kind of process, because he's still kind of in that shocked mode. But we'll see how this kind of plays out here, and like how this is going to be kind of interesting, because she's the mayor of Blüdhaven. She is his sister. She's also the daughter, I put that in quotation marks, of Tony Zucco, Dick Grayson's, the man who killed Dick Grayson's parents. So that, I mean, there's some kind of interesting things, like how is he going to like act against her now that he knows that he has a sister now? So that could be kind of interesting. And they don't really get much time to kind of talk and dwell on the whole thing, as at the very end of this issue, Blockbuster shows up with the police and everything, and we're not exactly sure why. So it's going to kind of be this really ambiguous kind of ending, and just kind of leave you on a bit of a cliffhanger. Like, okay, now that we got that out of the way, now let's add this thing. Let's get right back into the action. So overall consensus on Nightwing 82, I was kind of intrigued to learn of the backstory of, Melinda Zucco and how she came to be. It doesn't really feel organic to the story. It just kind of feels like something maybe added in for shock value. Again, I don't really know why Tom Taylor decided to go with the whole long lost sibling angle. I feel like it's something that's been kind of done, but there's got to be a purpose for it. So I'm going to have to wait and see how things kind of play out a bit, and try and figure out like why exactly Melinda Zucco needed to be the sister of Dick Grayson. Why did it have to be this reason for the story? There's got to be more. There's got to be a reason for it. So I'm going to give this thing the benefit of the doubt. Some fans will definitely be upset by this whole explanation to it. Me, it was just kind of a shocking thing, and then has me kind of questioning, like, why wasn't this ever brought up before? It's always kind of tough when you reintroduce something to, like, someone's past for a character that's been around as long as Dick Grayson has in the comics. It makes you wonder, why wasn't this ever brought up before? So it's kind of a tricky thing to do when you're writing a character like this. So we'll see how it turns out. It could be good, it could be bad, but I'm going to do the wait and see approach. But overall consensus, this is probably, like, out of the issues so far in this Nightwing run, this is probably my least favorite. Definitely isn't a bad thing. It just leaves me kind of scratching my head a little bit and wondering where it's going to go. So I'm not going to say it's bad. I still think it's worth checking out. And I still have faith that this run's going to really kind of pick up the pace somewhere, because so far it's been pretty good. This issue is a little bit kind of wonky. Doesn't really feel organic enough. It feels kind of forced, this explanation of going back to someone in the past and kind of adding this whole thing to introducing this character, and that just adding this connection right there on the spot. But it could turn out pretty good. We'll just kind of have to wait and see. But yep, those are my thoughts on Nightwing number 82. Let me know what you thought of it in the comments section down below. Be sure to hit that bell for notifications, like this video, share with your friends, and as always, take care now. Bye bye then, and I will see you all in the next video. Oh, and if you've seen Jim Cotta, what did you think of that? So, yeah. All right, take care now. Bye-bye then. Peace.